Hello everybody, this is me. Would you believe it's Pluto Man here, and I'm just going to go through a tournament I played yesterday, which I thought it was quite an interesting one actually. This is fixed limit BADUGI 550, 550 buy-in, not $550, $5.50. So let's get to it. Um, so I've got nothing here. I'm just going to skip through. So I've got nothing. I had a two card forward and one under the gun. You don't want to be playing that stuff. Just let it go under the gun. You can six-handed. Got any hands yet? Not yet. Now, this guy has made it already fairly clear he doesn't know what he's doing. So I've already marked him as red. So he doesn't have a clue how to play the game. Anyway, I don't have haven't had any hands yet. Very, very early stages here. Will I get that time? He's patting and checking and stuff. He's very, very weird. Not know what he doesn't know what he's doing, but he's also being not playing many hands, which is very odd. He's raising this one. Um, he's patting, but seriously he doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's got no idea what he's trying to make here. Doesn't know the rules of the game. So that became apparent at a very, very early stage, and it changes the dynamic in the whole tournament when you've got somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. Anyway, so now this guy is trying to re-raise, get as much money in as he possibly can. Makes sense. He's capping without knowing what he's doing. Um, so yeah, and he's drawing two. And what actually happened here in the end? Yeah, he's also playing pretty slowly, which is another thing. Decide to raise. You actually need to three bet here. If somebody does literally has made it very clear he doesn't know what he's doing, you've got to keep raising. You must keep raising. I mean, maybe you want this guy in if you've got a monster, but you've you've got to keep raising. Absolutely got to. It's Pat, but he's made it pretty. Unless he's Googled the rules or something. So yeah, even though he had a king, he needed to re-raise there. I remember he missed a bet there. So he had a king. The other guy was Pat. Had a really terrible king without actually having a Badugi at all. So here we go. First hand I get to play here. 7-3-2. Plenty good enough in that position. We go 2-1-1. Do I decide to bet? No, I don't. If he bets, well, I'm all right with that. He does bet, which I'm sort of glad about actually. But then I go and bet. Now I have a decision to make. Do I check? I do go for the check raise here, hoping that he's going to bet. And he won't bet all the time. I go for the check raise. So sometimes he's not going to bet. Then I'm going to whiff this. But luckily, obviously I gamble there. We're hoping he was going to check raise. So he does. And obviously I can just bet on the river here too. Um, So how does this go? Bet here, and it looks like they've both. So it looks like he obviously had a pretty good three card hand. That's what he was representing there anyway. Under the gun here, let that one go. Whoa, hang on, what's going on here? Something we got there. So here, this guy he raised. I call. It's kind of marginal. Don't know much about him. We go 2-2, so my call looks like it was worth. I decide to bet here because I've hit something reasonable, then I'm going to be betting regardless. Even if I miss, I'm going to be betting this. And then so I hit really, really well, and and I get the call on the river. He actually makes a Badugi on the river there. I think. I think he makes a rough one. Let's see. I mean, all he did, we actually had a reasonable hand there, so he had to call me there. You know, I'll be bluffing there occasionally. He's got to call me there with the 9-8. And so I've actually made a good start to this tournament. You actually see I'm leading the tournament. Only 16 people involved at the moment. That number's going to go way up. 8 minutes in. Oh, looks like what's going on here? What is going on here exactly? So yes, this was a funny one. I don't normally raise a hand like this, 7-3, but because of this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Is now sitting out, and unfortunately, I I take one off here. So he's pat. I feel I'll take one off, draws the 10, knowing that if I hit a 10, I'm going to be ahead of most of his pat range, but not all of it, obviously. Because of that, I then decide to let it go on the turn. Yeah, I wonder whether I should have raised the 7-3. It's just there's some dead money in there for someone who's actually sitting out. I probably would have done that even if he hadn't been sitting out. So here, got to raise this up. All these, so we're going, so we're going five-way here, are we? Yeah. Oh God. So, so now I call. The pot's got big already. Pot's got really quite big. So he's not drawing at all. And 0-2. How's this one going? So I'm actually suddenly playing quite a lot of hands. Uh, he's taking his time. This guy's played a lot, but I don't rate him as a player at all, actually, despite the fact that he plays like 8 days a week or something, which was a Beatles song. That's how often it feels like he plays. He's taking his time. He's taking his time. He's taking his time. Yeah. So he finally draws one, which is what I expected him to do. I miss again. Well, miss. That's only my first draw. So I've got two draws left. I've got too much hand to fold here, obviously. 7-5-1. I know occasionally you're going to be drawing dead with that. But he's pat from the start, so it's very unlikely you're actually going to be drawing dead. Now, though, this is an interesting one. That's right. So he is. I've moved ahead of most of his range there. He's. It's difficult though. I'm wondering. I have to raise here, just for value against everybody else. I know that sometimes I'm not going to have the best hand. Um, but you know, good strong pat hands better than 97 and reasonably rare. So I feel I'm gonna have to raise just for value here. Um, Even though sometimes I'm not gonna have the best hand. And of course, if someone three bets me and whatever, like, then the pot's probably got too big for me to fold there. You get enough weird stuff going on that's probably still have to call. But yeah, you want to actually to drive somebody else out. So it's interesting that he folded there, isn't it? Like he folded for that one extra bet. And I bet for value. And I don't know whether my bet on the river was, I think I had to raise the turn because if I do have the best hand, I've got to drive other people out, maybe price them out. Um, but I don't have the best hand there, obviously. He had a really, really strong pat there. I don't know whether my bet on the river was right, whether I should have just checked it back. I think either way is probably all right. Anyway, I lose that one. And it looks like I get to play another hand here. So how does this one pan out? Like, very next hand, actually, I was thinking I wouldn't be playing the very next hand, but it looks like I do. So, yeah, this position, got to raise that. And what you call the hijack, that's what they seem to call it these days. Um, 2-1, so I have to bet this just for value. So my card ahead, now 1-1. Now it looks like he's caught up. I don't have a very good hand. Of course, sometimes, if he bets the river, sometimes he's going to be bluffing with a worse hand than this, very occasionally, but start to let it go. It's completely missed there. That's what happens sometimes. So although I was ahead, I just miss every draw, and that's what will happen. Next one. Oh, oh! I keep skipping forward, thinking I'm not going to be playing another hand, but I do. I'm playing many sort of consecutive hands, sort of in quick succession. This time I'm in the big blind. I've got three jacks. I'm getting rid of them all, and which is the only way to play this hand. I think there was a time when I'd even dump the six there as well for some reason, but I think you need to keep the six there. Got a two-card draw here, um, and I get a look at it, right? So I get a chance to see this again, but I have improved. I've got a draw to an 8, but I miss, and he calls. He's probably pat. He's not though, which is interesting. So he seems to be actually betting reasonably well with his good three-card hands, and yeah, and you see. And that's why you get it paid off on the river there when you hit in a big way as he did there, and made the right decision there to just fold with my 8 draw. It's gonna get, if you actually hit, it's gonna. So anyway, I've got so what happens here exactly? So I just call. So I'm going to call 2.5 bets here. Eek, don't love this, but I feel that with him in as well. So I go and hit really well. Hope he's pat here, and he's not, which is interesting. But because he's so yeah, he looks. Yeah, I go for the check raise there because I feel he's going to bet there very often. Um, so and then if he three bet me, I guess I'll just call at that point. So but I'd be raising hands a lot weaker than this too. Check raising, and he calls me on the river too, so I get some value for that. And that's so it's been sort of an interesting one already. This time I probably would have raised this on the rev on the sorry on the button there. So he called me there with a queen. Anyway, this time I'm not going to be playing that hand. So am I going to get a run now of not playing hands? Looks like it. We jump forward here. Oh, this one's a little bit different. Obviously we've got a big draw here. I go three bet just for pure value. So this guy, he might decide to call or cap or God knows what. Anyway, now we go 1-1. Oof. And what do I decide to do? I still think I need to bet this for value. Do I? Oh, I check it back, which is weird. And now, so I decide now, do I decide to bet this one? Oh, I try to sort of mix up my play a little bit there by not betting. And then the fact that he called me, oh, I think this could go either way here. I think this could go either way. Um, what do I decide to do? And I do win, but by the barest of margins. So I would have got called there almost certainly. So I'm kind of regret not betting there, you know. The fact that he called me on the turn, maybe think I'm not might not even be ahead of half his range there. Might be ahead of like half, something like that. I felt I was only going to win that pot like half the time. Don't know. Anyway, I I'm over 4,000, so I have made a decent start here. Um, what's going on here? Let's have a look at this one. Um, I don't love 764, but anyway, here it is, 764. Um, decide because he's on the button. So he just limps, doesn't he? So I decide to make the call. I'm hesitant. You see, I'm hesitant about this, and I've got a kind of blocker here, I suppose. I've got enough to obviously see this draw. I've improved only very slightly though. 741. I call though because yeah, and I miss. Yeah, hitting the 741 just tipped me into a call there. It's just a little bit better than the 754. So, but anyway, I miss. And of course he was pat from the start, so I was almost certainly drawing pretty live there. So I've got garbage here. What's going on now? Not getting a lot of hands at the moment. That's fine. I've had my fair share of hands. But what will happen there? Hang on. So this is an interesting one. I've got ace four. I decide to call. I've got all my suits live and everything. I go and hit two more aces. Yeah, the blocking value of them is not worth anything against a pat hand, right? So next one though, I've got a monster pat hand here. Monster, but far from uh I love the fact that he's raised here. I think that's wonderful. So I just go and happily cap. He's getting 5-1 here, right? He's getting 5-1, and he folds, which is I think absurd, unless you're doing something really weird with um like a flush or something. I don't know. So anyway, all I do here because I'm ahead of the vast majority of pat hands. I don't play tricky or anything. I just bet. He's just going to call me. If he raises the river, well, I'll just call him. I'm going to bet this on the river too, clearly. And I think he had some kind of 10. But anyway, that was quite nice. I do wonder if there's a way I could have got more money there, though. So I haven't got anything here. I go upstairs at the top left-hand corner. Yeah, had a smooth 10. Couldn't have broken them. I mean, he could have done, but I don't think that would have been the play. So this guy's, I mean, he's actually been sticking around for quite a while for someone who doesn't actually know what he's doing. Um, Here we go. Next one. You can see I've got a really, really strong three-card hand under the gun here. It's six-handed on this table. So I've got three six-handed tables at the moment. And going for almost half an hour. And he's playing very, very slowly, or pretty slowly. Um, I think I'm going to have to bet this for value here. Well, now though, he just donks into me, and he's pat. And now I decide to just call him. Just call him and just call him all the way down here. If he bets again, I'll just call again. I check it back and I wonder, oh, and oh, that was terrible. He didn't bet there. That was a really, really bad check there. He's he's got to bet there. He's got to bet there. The fact that I didn't raise means that he's ahead of most of my range there. Um, I mean, I suppose he could. He felt that maybe if he bet, I would raise him. That's a possibility, I suppose. But I think he's. I mean, I think he's got a bet there, honestly. Right. Sometimes you wonder, am I being crazy? So I don't have anything here. Oh, oh, this was a funny one. I remember I get a free look here because I've got a one card draw. I decide to raise represent something a lot better than this because uh, it's a difficult one this because I've got a really junky draw in the back on the big blind. But what do? You're forced to play the hand. I don't want to tip off my hand by just checking it, just checking my options. So I decide to raise. And if I don't hit, and I don't hit, I'm just gonna, and he's drawing two, right? So the only thing to do now is to pat, I think, is to pat it. Don't know him actually. He seems to be okay, from what I can see so far. Drawing two again, so I just bet. He calls me. Don't love this because I feel that he might look me up on the river. I bet, and he folds, thankfully. So I get my snow, that's what that is, gets through. I'm happy about that. And if someone raises, I'm just going to get out of the way. I don't think calling the 1.5 bets in the small blind is generally a good idea. It's often a standard play for a lot of people, but I actually think it's a losing play. So I'll just let that one go. What about what I've got here? 7-6-2. So I'd like to raise this. I just fold though against the under the gun raise. I feel against his range I'm not doing so great. So anyway. And he actually ended up making a monster. He had 6-4-3-2. Here I've got a pat queen, very one of the worst pat queens you can have, and I just let it go because it's I think I might have three bet actually if he hadn't called the raise, but you see the massive problem here is the queen multi-way is just a complete nightmare. It's a reverse implied odds, as you call it, nightmare. Got to get rid of it. Only thing to do with that. It just has to go in the muck. If you can isolate him, raise it, and then nobody else calls, well, that's good because you can just put the pressure on, and hopefully he might fold on the turn or something. Anyway, oh, looks like I've got something here. Ooh, what happens? So here I am, sort of middle position here, and I open the 7-6-3 as I need to do. A real choice with a hand like this. He calls me, and we go 1-1. I improve to 7-3-1. That's a very similar hand earlier. I don't bet it. He bets this one, right? And I'm thinking about what to do, and I just fold. Ooh, I think that might be a little bit tight, but pot's not very big. Just get out of the way. Nothing here. Oh, something happened. Also, what happened here then? So this, actually, what's weird about this is we're playing a lot more. Is that the hands are going by faster than they normally do. Uh, we played, I think it was 64 hands or something, 63 hands in the first 42 minutes before the break, right? Which is unusually high. So I just take that one down on the turn. I bet the turn and he just folds. Next one I've got 4-3. I open this up. He folds, that's fine. Actually getting quite a lot of folds here before the draw. Another big hand here. Um, I'm going to be three betting, I think, any raise here just for value. But I've got position. Just a nice position to be in. And that's just when we're gonna shake out. Obviously, I raise this up. Big hand. Big draw. And he calls. I'm all right with that. We go one. None. So still doesn't know what he's doing. And this time I go and hit a BADUGI, mid-range BADUGI. Um, I'm hoping I can win this part. So this guy doesn't. I'm very happy to have a BADUGI against him. Okay, now he folds, which is a bugger, and my hand's good enough here to bet on the river as well. And you might get curious sometimes, right? So got nearly twice as much as what I started with, which is good. I made a good start. Haven't got anything good enough here to go with though. On this one, next one, yeah, got a big draw here. So, I don't mind this going multi-way actually, so I don't raise. I'm actually I'll be happy if it goes multi-way. I'd be happy if he calls, especially when he doesn't know what he's doing. Because somebody could raise quite easily. If it gets raised and capped, well, I'm happy to be involved here too. Anyway, we go three-way, first draw, 2-1, 1, hit a sort of low blocker there. Just call. Ugh. He's just drawing one again this time. So I hit very nicely. I was expecting him to bet there a lot of the time. He didn't. And I need to bet this as well. If he comes out and bets, I'll just call him. But I bet. And he folds. So I've actually got I'm in the lead again now. So that kind of interesting. So you can see I'm in second place now. Someone's just taken over the lead. That's fine. Maybe I've gone back into the lead. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I'm second place. There we go. I'm not going to be getting involved with this in the big blind. Garbage. This one I probably will raise actually if it folds round to me. Got my suits alive here, so I'm quite happy with that. He just calls me. And we go 1-2. Oof, I just call here. That's a real bugger that he's. I mean, I could have raised there, but people just don't bet. They don't bet often enough without a BADUGI. I mean, maybe it's possibly snowing here. He saw me draw two, and maybe he's going to pounce. So anyway, I just call here. I could. I think I actually, when I look back, I feel I miss opportunities here. I think I could have raised the turn here actually, and got him to break, or at least considered it, right? I feel like I missed these opportunities. I'm maybe he's not going to be folding here. Who knows? But yeah, you've got position. So if he calls and pats again, you can just draw again, right? And that's what I need to do there. That's what I need to do. Damn it! I don't get to play this tournament nearly enough. It's like once in a blue moon, just because I'm always so damn busy in the evenings, right? And this guy's just called me up wanting me to help him with English lessons in the evenings at the weekend. I mean, come on. How am I ever going to play this if I'm not ever available at the time? So 8-3-2 on the in the hijack. It's good enough to raise here. It's kind of at the bottom of my range. Wow, so he re-raises. This was a bit of a shitty hand. I remember it now. I remember this one being a particularly shitty hand. So I just call. So I think I do. I think I've got it right. I think I remember what was going on here. So he's pat, but ignore that. He clearly hasn't got a clue. So I just call. And he raises, and now I'm in a right mess because this is where, okay, he provides a lot of value. This guy doesn't know what he's doing, But the problem with that is that it bumps up the variance because now there's three bets in the pot that on three bets have gone in on the flop, and I don't know whether I should have made that call. I don't know. I really don't know. With a seven, sure. 7-3-2, definitely. With eight, I'm just drawing dead too often. Anyway, just drawing dead too often. And I miss. And what happens here? Mango 200. Again, this guy's completely clueless, and so we've already played. You see, this is the 56th hand of the tournament so far, so we're going really fast compared to how it often does. Maybe not quite so many multi-way pots. And this is the worst possible thing. I'm thinking on the river here. This is the worst possible thing. I'm thinking, oh no, if he bets here, I've got to make a crying call, but I don't expect to be any good. But the pot's got too big. Have to call. And I do call. And actually, of course, I was drawing dead there. He's got 7-4-2-1, which I think is number 17. 17th best hand you can have because there are 15 sixes or better. Because he didn't have anything at all. and I and I yeah lose some stackage there. Coming up towards the break now. Oh, here we go. Right, I'll fold this one. And that's the next one. Um, got a big hand here, really big draw. Got to obviously get some more money. If he raises, I will re-raise clearly, something like this. Um, he folds, okay. I improve even further. I've got 3-2-1. I bet, and he raises me, which is kind of interesting. And now he's pat. I have to call this. And do I make a mistake here? What happens? Ugh. So what I'm doing here, what I'm trying to do here, which is I'm trying to go for the check raise. He went from, I forget, I think at the time, I forget that he went from two to pat, which means his range is going to be pretty weak. So I make a mistake here by going for a check raise on the river. That's what I'm trying to do here. And of course, he just checks it back. So I hit fantastically well with a 7, like 7-3-2-1. Number 16, don't forget. And he just checks it back. I think he had a queen. Was it even a king? Can't remember what it was exactly. 8-7-2 on the bottom. Um, I think I did see what he had. He had some sort of yeah, bad pat hand. So now we're back after the break. He's just joined. He's a good player. He decides to join at this late stage. He's got 10 big bets. There's nothing wrong with that actually. 10 big bets. He's got something to play with. Saves a bit of time, I suppose. What do I decide to do here? Now this is an interesting one because first hand I get to play after the break. I've got a BADUGI here. But now you called, one of you calls, I can't remember which one it is. It must be you. Oh no, you don't. So we go three-way. It's interesting. So I thought, for some reason, I thought it was four-way, but it's three-way, and I decide to actually break here just because I feel it'll be easier to play. And I miss when I only have the ace-two combination. So I think I decide to just fold here on the flop. I mean, I could have raised, but um, I just fold, yeah. So maybe I should have I should have raised rather. I should have raised before the flop and just, but I just felt that it's a massive problem a hand like that. So I don't know what he actually had on the. Didn't get to see a showdown. 981. Someone raise. I'm out the way. Yep, there you go. I'm out the way. So what happened there? 953. Not quite good enough here. So you can see previous hand there. Someone made a pretty good hand. That 7-3-2-1's coming up a lot at the moment. That exact hand came up in another tournament played. It seemed to be a big hand that I made that hand and missed a bet or something. Okay. Alright, let's fold whatever garbage I had here. Third place at the moment, fourth place, going along reasonably well. Long, long way to go. Yeah, and I think I make a very tight fold here in position, and I have 7-4-1. I had a blocker. I just think I probably should have called. I don't know. It's close. It's close because you know. Anyway, I make the fold. I think I just got to walk there. Nothing here, so I'm not getting involved a lot at the moment. I'm just getting pretty card dead. Nothing here. This time though, I actually clearly have a good hand. Now, what exactly? What exactly happened? So 6-5-2. I decided not to re-raise here. I don't think it'd be terrible to do that, but just make the call. I'm expecting to bet quite often here on the flop. Doesn't though, and now I improve significantly. So I decide to bet. It'd be difficult if he raises me though. He calls me, and I decide not to bet the river. I'm pretty sure I don't bet the river here. Being out of position makes it kind of awkward. Would call a bet here though. And I think, I don't know what he had. I think I'm sure I have a look at see what he had. Here we go. Yeah, here we go. What did he have? He had 7-3-2. So he actually didn't have a particularly strong draw. I don't think he would have called me on the river there if he had, if I bet. So anyway, second place. I'm looking at this. Not all that relevant right now though. That's not good enough under the gun. So it makes number two, which is nice. Really, really nice. Huge pot, actually. Absolutely massive pot compared to what people's stack sizes are. And I say nice, nice hand. Nice pot is really what I meant to say. So anyway, he's got basically no chips, so just put him all in and hope. So it's going to be a little pot anyway. Hope that my hand is going to hold up. Draws drawing two again here. Unfortunately, he goes and blooming hits the second draw and hits his two-card draw. Like I said, it's only a little pot anyway. So always every little pot helps though. I didn't win that one. So what happens here? A little bit awkward. 10-5-2-1. Carry on to the late reg finishes, then I'll stop the video. So I just cap here. I feel that's the only way to play this. He's going all in. He's going to be pretty wide, and I'm just hoping this is going to hold up. It's going to be hard to break here. Drawing one again. He's drawing one as well. There's no guarantee I'm going to win that part of the pot, even if I win this part. Draws one again on the river. Cool. I'll make a crying call if he bets the river here. Just check it back. Luckily, he had a really, really strong three-card hand, and I was able to win with my smooth 10. I've got a monster draw here, absolute monster, 3-2-1. KC is doing reasonably well here. They've only been here for 20 minutes. I've put him as orange because I think he's a good player. I think he's the best player at the table, actually. So three bet here. Is he pat? That's the big question. No, he's not. So that's interesting, isn't it? He doesn't bet, so I bet. And I'm going to keep betting. Unless he's pat, I'm going to keep betting this. Oh, but then he's pat. Oh, that's right. Now I make it. It's a 7-3-2-1's come up again. Like, ugh. Like this damn hand. I make a mistake here again with this hand. I don't know what it is about this hand. It just. I needed to raise there. I needed to raise. Why didn't I raise? I only had the biggest hand by the best hand by a small margin, but I had to raise there. Had to raise there. Eesh. Yeah, it's just thin value, right? A thin value raise. That's what that would have been. Really thin, but I think I needed to make the raise. It's just it gets into monster territory. Is 7-3, you know. Wow, gosh. So I've been hitting quite well, but I feel like I've lost some value a little bit here. So I'm not, although I've got a big stack here, I'm in the lead. I don't feel all that happy. I missed a bet there. I remember at the time. Not feeling too happy about things. So, right, look at this one. Now, remember, so having got all those chips, things start to go a little bit awry for me. We've got 20 minutes before late reg finishes. I've got number seven, so I've got, I mean, what more can you want? Pat number seven. Yeah, you're only going to get a hand as strong as that roughly every oof, 1,500 hands. 15, yeah, it's about every 1,500 hands you'll get a hand as strong as that. So if you're playing 80 hands an hour or something, well then every 20 hours you'll see a hand as strong as that. It's a long time. So this is a real, and of course I get it in the big blind, and I you know I just get a walk. Isn't that just oh, you feel cursed. So now I've got a big draw here, big draw, and then and I remember this being a very weird one. So he raises. And I think his range there is actually pretty wide. He's going to have eight draws and stuff like that there for sure. So I just re-raise, and I'm kind of just for value, right? Just for value. Even got a little blocker there. Wouldn't don't mind either way if he comes in or if he doesn't come in. Most of the time he's not going to, of course, but this time he does, and then he caps. So I'm expecting to be up against a pat hand from him a lot of the time, most of the time, and you know, strong one card draw from you probably. That's what I expect here. So, so we go. So I. So 1-2-2. That was not what I expected at all. I'm actually not even sure if he knows what he's doing. This guy. No, I think he does. I think he does know what he's doing. I think I actually ascertained that on a previous hand because I hadn't seen him before. We go 1-2-2 again, so I have to bet this again, right? Just for value. And unfortunately, I miss. I have the don't. I finish up with the 6-2-1 I started with, which is a little unfortunate. And he bets. I call him. He's got 3-2-1. Good bet there. But what the hell he was doing before the draw, I've got no idea. I mean, you shouldn't have been involved at all. So a lot of yeah, lose quite a lot of um, you know, chips. Reasonable number of chips there. Uh, it's a little bit unfortunate there, to be honest, and just got varianced up unnecessarily. So anyway, next one. Now this was a horrible one. This was horrible. So anyway, I get Pat 9, and I don't want it to go massively multi-way. I don't. That's the last thing I want it to do. So when he calls, it's like, oh shit. And you got no choice but to raise here. And he folds, thankfully. But even so, we go full way. And the crazy thing is here, I'm only about 30% for this to hold up. If everyone takes all their three draws, we've got a big pat hand here, basically. But it's it's a pretty strong pat hand, but three-way you're only about 30%. They're all drawing one. Yeah, it's 30% if they're all drawing one. Then they all are all drawing one. There's no two-card draws here. So you only got just over your share of equity. Plus, you might end up having to call off more bets. And so yeah. So I have to just keep betting, and then they all call, and this is a big pot, just because it's gone full way, not because a lot of bets have gone in, just because it's gone full way. And at the moment I'm ahead, so they're all drawing still on the second draw. So the chance of me winning has obviously gone up quite a bit now. Check, and I'll just bet again. If I get raised, I'm probably going to make the call. And they all call still, so the pot's got pretty huge. And I, and there comes the pat of death, the pat of doom. It's awful when people pat, isn't it? Because he pats behind me there, and I'm thinking he's probably freezing. Sometimes I'm going to have the best hand, but a lot of the time he's going to have an 8, bet a 9. I feel like if he had a 7, he'd probably raise. I mean, he's a good player, this guy. He's not going to be drawing to junk. Doesn't do that sort of thing. Let us check. He bets. And I have to call here. And he's got an 85, right? Yeah. Yeah. Um, Surprised he didn't raise that actually. I think he should have raised there. Uh, yeah, I actually think he needed to raise there because I mean, how many hands worse than that am I going to have? Not too many. I guess he maybe didn't want me to break or something, but I think he had to raise there. But I thought I'd play that fine. It's just unfortunate that we got so multi-way that So, so 753 here. He's I miss again. So suddenly I've lost half the chips I had before, right? When I had that 7-3-2-1 and one with that, and and I think misplayed it on the river. I've been punished by by losing some pots since then. I've been punished by losing half my stack. Not much fun, is it? So nothing here. Skip through some of these. So I'm in 10th place now, middle of the pack, close to the blue line, and blue line telling you where the average stack is. And yeah, when I was leading the tournament again there, so getting involved with the 3-1 and the cut in the hijack, it's kind of playable. Still doing a lot of folding, because I'm just not getting any hands, and stack is dwindling. What have I got this time? 3-4, so I'm not getting involved with that either. Must have got a walk there. Now what he did, this was an interesting one. This go back a little bit here actually. So what the Sking did, there we go. We'll play this one, right? So I have absolutely nothing here. And this Sking here, whenever I see him, he doesn't have many chips. I don't know why that is. I feel like he's probably a little bit too uh, passive, honestly. That's probably maybe why. But anyway, it's got a really small stack here. Two big bets, and he just open limps, and then it gets raised, and then it gets re-raised, and then he just gets all his money. And so I'm thinking, people do that when they have monsters, don't they? So, or unless they're just desperate. That could be. They could. So anyway, Pat. So I'm thinking, I wonder what he's got. Wouldn't be surprised to see a monster here. So 0111, all drawing one. Okay, apart from you and your Pat. So got a big stack now, this guy, hasn't he? So he's a good player. I shall accumulate a good stack. Got a side pot appearing as well, emerging. He's pat now as well. So just checks, check, check, check. Takes down a side pot with a pretty ropey hand. And Skiing had 6-3-2-1 pat. He had pat number 6. And now, yeah, here we go. There's my hand with my 3-4s. He must have got a walk there. And then we've got seconds. So there's somebody there who didn't know what he was doing. We've got seconds until the big blind. Sorry, not the big blind. The late reg finishes. You'll just know why you decide to buy him quite this late. So he doesn't know the rules. This guy there. It's knocked out without knowing the rules. And then, so people who buy him very late at like literally last minute often don't know the rules. It's amazing, isn't it? But so struggling a little bit now. So 9 get paid at the moment. That might is that how we end up? Does it end up with 9? I think so. So just counting down the last few seconds that you can buy in. Last 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it looks like 9 is what it's going to be. So I'll stop it there, stop the video there, and yeah, nine are going to get paid. That's decided, and we'll see if I'm going to be one of them 9, right? I might win it yet. I might I might finish outside the 9. Maybe I won't win it because I haven't got that much of the video left. Is that a spoiler? Looks like there's a bit of a spoiler there, doesn't it? Maybe I'm not going to win it. Maybe KC is going to win it. But anyway, stop it here, and I will yeah, I'll be back with the second and final part of this video shortly. Okay, take care. See you soon.